So, as the title says, there are some problems with the nominations, in my opinion. So, I'm going to make a case for some players that should have been included instead of others, because everybody knows that a Canadian Portuguese kid knows better than France football, right? Right? What's up? I'm Adrian from Rabona TV, and in this video, I'll be offering up 4 swaps that I think are justifiable in the Ballon d'Or nominations. Remember, this is just my opinion, and I am very curious to hear what changes, if any, that you guys would make. So be sure to comment below after the video. First off, here's the criteria specified by France football. I'm jumping straight into things here. 1. Individual and collective performances during the year. 2. Player class, which they clarify class as meaning the player's talent and fair play. And 3. Player's overall career. That last one, I think, is kind of stupid. However, after looking at the nominees, it seems as though the World Cup and Champions League is weighted way more than achievements accrued across a 38-match span, or whatever length the season is in a given country, which I disagree with a little bit. But we'll get into it on a player-by-player basis, alright? Let's get started. My first gripe is the exclusion of Robert Lewandowski. Last season, yet again, he was the top scorer in the Bundesliga with 29 goals from 30 matches, almost a perfect goal per game ratio. And across all competitions, he managed to notch 41 goals from 48 appearances. In fact, not a single Bayern Munich player made the 30-man shortlist. In fact, times 2, not a single Bundesliga player made the cut this year, which is a bit surprising. In fact, times 3, not a single German player made it. And I know Bobek isn't German, he's Polish, obviously, but that's just a side note. Aside, in fact. I get it. He didn't have a great World Cup with Poland, not great at all, but the guy wasn't given much to work with, as Poland were terrible in general. Does that mean that he should be completely ignored for what he achieved across the rest of the season in the Bundesliga and the Champions League? I don't think so, and I think that he should have made it instead of Mario Mandzukic, who I know people are going to freak out about because people really love this guy. Mario had an okay World Cup, helping Croatia make it to the finals with 3 goals and 1 assist, meaning he finished 9th in scoring there. For Juventus, he scored 10 goals from 43 appearances. If we're comparing one striker with another, it's not even close. And another example of the World Cup, 7 matches if you make the final and play in every single match, being weighted outrageously more than achievements across the season. Lewandowski in for Mandzukic in my opinion, no doubt about it. Next up, I have a bone to pick with the inclusion of Isco. Now, for those that have been watching this channel for a long time, especially watch-alongs in which Real Madrid or Spain are involved, then you'll know that Isco is one of my favorite midfielders. His artistry on the ball is incredible, and peak Isco is amazing to watch. But for me, I think this is a classic case of someone making the list simply because of their team having a great achievement. This time, Real Madrid winning an unprecedented 3 Champions League titles in a row. In La Liga, he had 7 goals and 7 assists, with 2 more assists coming via the Champions League, and 2 more goals via the UEFA Super Cup and Copa del Rey. Oh, and he scored once in the World Cup as well. But even amongst Real Madrid players, I think there are 2 others who could have been on the shortlist ahead of him. Casemiro, who was absolutely integral to Real Madrid's defensive shape and being the link up between defense and attack, and Toni Kroos, who is the master of under-celebrated stats, things like passes completed, etc. Everyone's always looking at goals and assists. But now who would I legitimately replace him with? Well, for one, you could look to Paulo Dybala, who despite struggling at times last season, still managed to help Juve to a league and cup double once again, contributing with a goal involvement of 33 from 46 matches. That's 26 goals and 7 assists. Or you could look to another Serie A attacker in Mauro Icardi, who didn't play in Europe or the World Cup at all, which France football hates, clearly, but still managed to contribute to interseason with 29 goals and an assist from 36 appearances across all competitions. Ridiculous numbers. But for me, if I'm playing by France football's rules of weighing the Champions League pretty heavily, then I would include Edin Dzeko, who was lethal for Roma in the competition last season, scoring 8 goals. Any other season, that would likely be enough for at least a 3rd place finish in the rankings, at least. But with Liverpool going crazy with the goals and of course Cristiano Ronaldo dominating, 8 goals from 12 matches only got him a 5th place finish, but helps Roma on their incredible run to the semi-finals, while also contributing with 5 assists for a goal involvement of 13 in 12 matches. In the league, he scored 16 and assisted twice from 36 appearances, which helped lead Roma to a 3rd place finish. He showed up in the Champions League big time and didn't slack too much in the domestic competitions, and in my opinion, should be in there instead of Isco. He was far more important to his team than Isco, in my opinion. Now, one of the keeper nominees annoyed me quite a bit. So when I first read it, I was going to say Courtois was undeserving, but granted, Thibaut Courtois won the Golden Glove in the World Cup mostly due to his incredible performance against Brazil, but he also made a total of 27 saves, the most of any keeper at the tournament, and had a save percentage of 81.8%. And for Chelsea, he was decent as well, getting 15 clean sheets and didn't make one single error that led to a goal. So fine, Courtois, you can stay among the nominees, you deserve it. However, Hugo Lloris, I don't buy it. Starting with his club campaign last year, where we really got to see a lot of his blunders come to the light. Mistakes leading to a goal with 5. He had 15 clean sheets, so tied for third in the league, and was 13th as far as saves go with 86. Is this really elite amongst goalkeepers? 5 errors, third for clean sheets, and 13th for saves? Clearly, a lot of weight was put on the World Cup win he has under his belt. Sure, he captained France to their World Cup victory, but he didn't have much to do in that tournament. Was he the second best keeper in the World Cup? No. Third? No. Fourth? No. In fact, on the World Cup goalkeeper statistics page, they have him ranked in 10th, having made only 12 saves in the entire tournament, with a shocking save percentage of 66.7%. For the record, Kasper Schmeichel made 21 saves and had a 91.3 save percentage, the highest of any keeper that made 2 or more appearances in the tournament. Insane. So basically, he wasn't the best keeper in the league at the club level, and his club didn't win anything, so that grows that criteria, and he wasn't the best keeper at the World Cup, and simply gets to hitch a ride based on his national side winning the World Cup. I guess it helps that the Ballon d'Or is awarded by France Football. Who should have gone in his place? Well, David De Gea was basically United's only line of defense last season, as he won the Golden Glove for getting 18 clean sheets and didn't make a single error that led to a goal against them. From 37 appearances, he conceded just 28 goals. Now, of course, given that France Football is clearly putting such a heavy focus on the World Cup, De Gea scores extremely low in that regard. But still, I'll take a guy who can do it across 37 matches over a guy who didn't even play very well across 6 matches in a tournament. And if you don't like De Gea, how about Ter Stegen? Again, he didn't score very high at the World Cup because he didn't really get to play thanks to the return of Manuel Neuer, which in itself is a sham in my opinion. But for Barcelona, he was absolutely dominant, helping them to an almost invincible year in the league, playing in 37 matches and conceding 28 goals. The exact same as De Gea, but securing 19 clean sheets along the way. He was even better in the Champions League, securing 5 clean sheets from 9 appearances. So, he won the league, the Copa del Rey, and was incredible in the Champions League, but Lloris gets in ahead of him? Whack. Ter Stegen deserves it much more than Hugo Lloris in my opinion. And finally, there's no nice way of saying it. What the fuck is Karim Benzema doing on this shortlist? How the hell is he considered one of the top 30 players in the world? Especially after last season. I mean, I doubt there is much that I have to do to convince you that he doesn't deserve to be on this list, as he has been stealing a living at Real Madrid every year following the 2015-16 season. Sure, he was a part of a Real Madrid side that won the Champions League for the 3rd time in a row, but his output for the team is truly pitiful in comparison to some that didn't make it, like Icardi and Dzeko and Robert Lewandowski. Dude, even Jonas from Benfica deserves to be on here way more than him, as he scored 37 goals from 41 appearances, including 34 goals in 30 matches in Liga NOS. Benzema, 47 appearances, 12 goals, 11 assists. 2 of those goals were absolute gifts, by the way, in the Champions League semi-final and final. Shout out to Ulrich and Karius for those. But the man who deserves to be on the 30-man shortlist more than Benzema, perhaps more than anyone else even mentioned in this video, has got to be Ciro Immobile. 53 appearances and the same amount of assists with 11. The difference? Immobile scored 41 goals across all competitions, was the joint top scorer in the Serie A, the top scorer in the Europa League, and his overall play was just far superior. This is another example of a guy who isn't even considered in the top 30 because his team didn't win any competitions. Yet Benzema gets to piggyback on the work of his teammates? Pretty unfair, as that trio from the Serie A of Dzeko, Icardi, and Immobile are all far superior to Benzema. And Jonas too. Get him in there. Legend. Nepotism, baby! But that, my friends, rounds out the 4 changes that I definitely would make to the 30-man shortlist for the Ballon d'Or. Do you agree? Disagree? I want to hear any changes you would have made. But besides that, if you enjoyed the video, then be sure to drop a like for me. And hey, if you're new to the channel and want to make this a more regular occurrence, then just hit that subscribe button. Anyways, thanks so much for watching. I'm Adrian, and I'll see you later. Peace!